For a long time, WWE has been the dominant force in the world of pro wrestling. In the days of the wrestling territories, that was not the case, and it was not a big product and was just another wrestling territory. When Vince McMahon Jr. took over his father's company, he had thoughts of conquest on his mind. One by one, he took on and absorbed each territory, making WWE a national brand. WWE had one promotion restricting their way to becoming the only superpower in wrestling, and that was WCW. WCW and WWE squared off in what was known as the Monday Night Wars. Though it appeared as if WCW was going to win this ratings war, WWE was able to come back strong, and with the onset of the Attitude Era, took over the world of wrestling. WWE fans were happy, as finally in 2001, WCW was sold over to Vince McMahon. Their happiness would not last. After the Attitude Era came the Ruthless Aggression Era, which is said to be the favorite time for many wrestling fans. But soon the company changed the direction of the product, and by 2008 the most hated time in the history of the company began, the PG era, and later, the reality era. In this list, we will talk about the top 10 reasons why modern fans hate the WWE. WWE has never been the most respectful company. When it comes to how they treat the fans, their behavior has been seen as disgusting. One of the rules which any writer worth his salt must follow is show and don't tell. WWE ignores the fundamental rule in their regular programming to such an extent that the fans are left feeling like the company they are investing their time into thinks they're morons. Truth be told, there is the fact of the matter. WWE does not respect its fans, and their content is simplistic in the extreme. The commentators make allusions to something that we can all see coming from miles away. It's almost as if it's a narrative book for a toddler. They are not consistent either. Rules are shaped and reshaped to fit the mold that WWE needs to tell the story they want. For that reason, rules like pinfalls inside a steel cage, countouts and no DQ matches, rope breaks and no holds barred matches, etc. all shift and change like tide according to the whim of WWE. WWE has been criticized for lacking a proper creative direction for a long time. Ever since the start of the PG era, the stars have seemingly all merged into small categories in which they fit. The uniqueness which remained between characters hardly exists at this point. The problem becomes even more obnoxious with the emergence of the reality era, whereas WWE was suddenly signing better and more talented workers. The overall storylines those workers were handed only grew worse with each passing day. Each talented performer seemed to come in with a legitimate athlete storyline, be it AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura upon his debut, Seth Rollins after WrestleMania where he faced Triple H, even Samoa Joe to an extent. The little varieties in characters did not give too much space for a story arc to be built. The stories themselves were short term and did not really build something into the future which the fans could be invested in. WWE creative and management departments have long since followed the idea WWE knows best. They have their own fixed ideas about whom to push and which superstar to make the champion. Every now and again, a star comes along who WWE sees as not fitting the mold. This is where conflict may begin, as they might see them as thinner, smaller, or for whatever reason they are not seen as the potential star. The fans, however, may fall in love with them and make their voices known. In any other industry, the management team might have taken advantage of the fact that the fans supported the star to make the fans even happier. WWE doesn't really go that direction, and CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are two of the biggest exceptions, as with immense fan support, they were able to get over and actually be pushed by the company. WWE was left no choice. But there have been many casualties, with stars often getting buried for going over when WWE didn't want them to. Rusev, Ty Dillinger, Damien Sandow are all stars who could be argued that lost their booking potential because of the fact they got over without the help of WWE's booking. While some were able to find their way back into WWE's favorable book, others had to leave the company to try their luck elsewhere. One of the things bothering WWE fans currently is that their champion is not present on the show most of the time. While Brock Lesnar is no doubt one of the strongest competitors to ever enter a ring in WWE, strength is not all that is required to make a WWE wrestler. With that, there needs to be some amount of care that the wrestlers have towards the fans, the company, and telling a story. Brock Lesnar as a wrestler had none of these qualities, and to anyone who's observed him, it was all clear that the Beast only cared about the money. So when Brock Lesnar won the Universal title at WrestleMania after defeating Goldberg, it was expected not to last very long. Rumors that emerged that Roman Reigns was being primed to defeat Lesnar at the following year's Mania. While the fans were unhappy, Roman was yet again being handpicked. Whenever Brock defeated a wrestler in that year, they had the comfort of knowing Roman was going to win the title at WrestleMania. People were in for a shock. At WrestleMania 34, Brock retained the championship and pinned Roman Reigns. One of the major reasons WWE fans hate the company is because they have to put the championship in the hands of a man who does not turn up for most of the shows, and does not defend his championship in most pay-per-views as well. Another thing that has driven thousands of wrestling fans away from WWE was the change in the product that took place in 2008. While the era of Ruthless Aggression saw fans losing interest a bit, the matches and content were still to the liking of fans. In 2008, however, WWE would redirect their product towards children and would make their content PG. This meant the slow but sure disappearance of blood from television and change in the type of promos. From serious promos and segments with hard-hitting matches, the content turned into sillier and funnier segments which kids would enjoy. This drove away teenage and young adult fans who couldn't really relate to this. The edginess from the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era is still sorely missed by WWE fans on television to this day. Nowadays, the product is all about advertising. Be it Be a Star or the Susan G. Komen Foundation, WWE's programming was directed by their charity partners. While this sounds like a good thing, WWE's products seem to be the opposite of the products they supported. With Be a Star, the anti-bullying campaign, it was easy to see it went completely against the culture of the company, with stars often bullied on live television. The Women's Revolution was a term which was shoved down the throat of the audience, with the commentators using these key terms again and again to hammer in the idea of just how historic it was. After a while, it became tiring to hear the same thing over and over again, with WWE beating their own drum. If someone was to take a look back at old WWE matches, they would see that the big stars like Stone Cold and Goldberg were definitely protected. The matches would see them winning unless the heels cheated to pick up the win. Clean wins for heels were rare, and this kept WWE pay-per-views special as this was the only time where a heel could pick up a clean win. Times have changed and WWE go out of their way to protect each and every star with 50-50 booking. Each person seems as capable as the other, making it hard to actually root for an underdog or anyone in particular. While 50-50 booking can be good sometimes, when it takes over each feud it no longer feels important. This is why Brock Lesnar squashing John Cena or Goldberg squashing Lesnar felt special in recent years, as this was so different from the matches the fans have gotten used to seeing. A large part of the interest fans have in wrestling is the match's ability to create moments that shock or surprise them. As mentioned above with Lesnar squashing Cena or Goldberg defeating Lesnar easily, these are both examples of shock nowadays. The internet has taken a large part of the mystique away from modern day wrestling. The surprises are far and few between, with reports spreading fast and wide to announce any new signing and most debuts. On the few occasions that WWE managed to shock the audience, it feels special. The lack of surprises in recent years has taken away from the product. When you have a face of the company, it does not work quite as well if he is hated by most of your fan base. In the beginning it was Bruno Sammartino, then came Hulk Hogan. Both were loved by the fans in their time. Stone Cold was able to fill the void left by Hulk, and The Rock was another star who became the face of WWE for a while. Both stars were loved by the fans, and WWE looked like they could do no wrong. Then came the time of the more controversial John Cena. Cena was able to rule WWE for the better part of a decade and a half and picked up his critics along the way. Despite that, his supporters were vocal as well, and Cena was by no means an unpopular choice as the face of the company. Finally came Roman Reigns. From the very first day, it was obvious WWE was priming him for the big push to become the face of the company. He was not accepted by most of the hardcore fan community as he appeared to be yet another Cena. The continuous push he received despite the universe obviously not liking him served to make him even more unpopular. WWE didn't seem to care what the fans had thought, and continued to push him, and even now Roman is one of the most least liked faces of the company in WWE. The commentary in WWE is a demon in itself. What used to be one of the best parts of WWE programming with Jim Ross on the commentary desk, the style of commentary has definitely changed, making it less memorable. Ross used to ad-lib most of the best comments on television. Nowadays the commentary is so rehearsed and calculated that it takes away from the actual moment. Michael Cole shouting "Big Dog" every time Roman Reigns comes out, or "Boss Time" for Sasha and "Balor Club" for Finn has led to cringe-worthy moments. When Daniel Bryan won the championship at WrestleMania, Cole shouted about a miracle kid and a miracle on Bourbon Street, making the moment feel like it was less than what it deserved. With all the reasons WWE gives the fans to hate its product, it is important to mention that there has never been a better accumulation of raw wrestling talent such as there is today. If WWE makes changes and caters to the fans, they can still put out the best content. and these are 10 reasons why wrestling fans hate the WWE. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more wrestling videos.